Hi. I'm feeling so weird because I just filmed the video but then something got messed up. Now, this is my first YouTube video, and I will be focusing more on kind of like the makeup side of things, so tutorials, also styling things, mostly how to convert things, which is a really good money saving tip, so that way you can wear things in the summer and the winter and you don't have to go and spend a ton of money. So transitional things I'm quite good at doing with my wardrobe. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that, and things that people wouldn't think you could transition as well. So that's the things that I'm going to try and do the most for you. Now, this video is going to be a bit different. I'm going to focus mainly on the inside first, and I'm just going to give you 10 tips so that way you can kind of eat your way into healthy skin and healthy hair and healthy nails. My nails do need work at the moment, I'm not even going to lie. They are breaking so much, but I've been cleaning a lot recently and stuff like that, so that's why. But I will give you like some ideas and just some tips how to point you in the right direction. I just need to say firstly, this is not a dieting video. I don't diet. It's not that I don't condone diet. I do realise that there are some people who it's necessary, but to me, if you are within your BMI, then this is a good video for you. If you are slightly above your BMI, this is also a good video for you. If you have bad eating habits, this is a good video for you. I have bad eating habits sometimes. So anyway, number one is just to try and hydrate. Now, I don't like water very much. I don't like the taste, which sounds stupid because it hasn't really got a taste, but I don't really like it, and for that reason I find it very, very hard to ensure that I am drinking the right amount of liquid, having the right amount of water. So what I would say is, if you're like me, then try and go for sugar-free options. So for example, I have like a lemon squash because it's citrus, and I'm hoping there's some amount of vitamin C somewhere in there, that has got no added sugar, and I have that with water, quite diluted, and I just put that into a bottle, fill that with water, and I drink that, and it tastes so much better to me, but I still am benefiting from having the right amount of liquids in my body, and therefore my skin and my hair and stuff benefits a lot more from that as well, so that's good. And then in terms of carbonated drinks, now I'm not going to say to people don't ever have a carbonated drink. I don't really like fizzy drinks that much, but now and then I do. So but when I do, I also opt for sugar-free drinks, and I like Waitrose own brand Cloudy Lemonade, and also their Fiery Ginger Beer, because those taste really, really good. You don't really notice the fact that the sugar's gone, and also ginger's quite good for you anyway, and lemon is quite good for you anyway. So those are the two options that I opt for, but each to their own. I'm sure that you'll find some favourite out there that has no added sugar. And also, one good thing is coconut water. I know it's really expensive, I'm not going to lie, and I drink a whole carton. If I drink coconut water, if I buy it, I will usually drink an entire carton. It's nearly £3, and that to me for a drink is very, very expensive. So I don't buy it all the time, but when I do, I will drink the whole carton. It's a bit of a treat drink, if that makes sense. Now, the number two thing that I'm going to say is about dairy. I love cheese. I think loads of people like cheese. Dairy is actually really good for you if you're not lactose intolerant, obviously. Then it is really good for you, really beneficial for your bones. Calcium is very important, especially as you get older, in terms of combating things like arthritis and things like that. You want your bones to be nice and healthy and strong. So I personally, I'm a vegetarian, and I don't cut dairy out, just because I do know that I want to make sure that I'm having calcium, if that makes sense. So I have cheese. I do love cheese. I love all types of cheese, but the one problem with cheese is that it's really bad for your cholesterol, and it can lead to your arteries being clogged in your heart. And you know, worst case scenario, you can have worst case scenarios, you can have palpitations, heart attack, and eventually you might have to have a bypass, and obviously you could die before that even gets to that point. So I'm nowhere near the age where that would necessarily be a concern, but I do want to implement these things now. So rather than me going out and eating the best, most stinky mature cheese that there is around, I actually opt for either Waitrose or Marks and Spencer do very good reduced fat cheese, because it still tastes like it's got fat, it's still crumbly and stuff. So what I found with some other supermarket brands, I have tried some, it's not that it might have the taste okay, but then it's a bit kind of flimsy, like the actual texture is not right, and I don't know why that is. I don't know what difference taking, you know, having milk that's a bit more kind of pasteurized probably makes it, I don't know, but basically I don't feel like it's the same. So but with those two brands, I do feel like they taste really good. Another thing is also soft cheeses like mozzarella, feta, mascarpone. They are really good as well, and they still taste really nice. And Philadelphia is actually quite good as well. So that's number 2. Number 3 is actually my plate system, and my plate system is actually the most important rule. I don't know why I placed it at number 3, it probably should have been number 1, but it's my most important rule. And this is whereby I have a plate, so this is a nice plate, and as most people do, you would have like quite a lot of food on your plate. What I actually do is I make it so that a quarter of my plate is protein, a quarter of my plate is carbohydrate, and half of my plate is vegetables. If I'm cooking, for example, something that is hard to kind of know how to do that with, like a pasta, then I will usually make loads of vegetables and incorporate those into my pasta. But I don't weigh stuff, I do it all by eye, and I kind of am like, okay, well, there's about 50% vegetables to 50% of the pasta in there, so there's a little bit less pasta in there or something, and then I will add extra things, and maybe my side might have, like, my protein might have been cooked with a few vegetables and stuff as well, and that will go on the side. And doing this is the most important tip when it comes to your meal, because it's so easy to just load up on, I love potatoes, I love pasta, I love everything that is pretty much bad for you, but there's a reason why it tastes so good. It's probably because it is quite bad for you. So this is one other thing. That's number 3. Number 4, I'm going to do puddings, so desserts. When you have a dessert, if it is a hard dessert, always have fruit with it. So for example, if you're going to have a piece of chocolate fudge cake, then have 1 scoop of ice cream or some cream, and then have your fruit. So I would usually have, maybe with 1 piece of fudge cake, half a box of strawberries, and I mean a large box of strawberries, not the little tiny ones. I'll have like half a box of those chopped up, and I will eat that with some cream. It's yummy, and I feel like a lot more full afterwards, and that stops me from going back to the fridge for a second piece of cake. Whereas if I just eat the cake by itself, I'll probably go back to the fridge and cut another slice and eat that too. Number 5 is what to do like when you're going out. Now, when you're going out to dinner, it's a little bit more harder because you have other people, when other people want starters and mains and desserts and all that stuff. And I like dessert, so I'm never not going to have dessert, but some people don't like sweet things. What I usually do is I have a starter and a dessert, or a main and a dessert, but I never have, I hardly ever, don't ever say never, but I hardly ever have a starter, a main and a dessert, just because it's far too much. Our portion sizes are supposed to be this much. I always eat about that much, which is why I do the half of my plate in vegetables thing. So and I think most people, when you go to a restaurant, that is how much you get on your plate. So that's one thing. If you're going out with someone and like you're going on like a date or something like that, it's a little bit more harder because you don't want them to think like you're fussy. But maybe things like getting a starter and suggesting that you share that starter because it's like a starter that's big enough to be shared, so choosing an option like that, or a dessert, like sharing your dessert as well, and then having your main course, so that way you still get part of everything but you don't have to like load up. And then usually guys, if they want more stuff, then they'll order sides and stuff, so you should be fine. And so that's I think I was at tip number 5. So tip number 6 is more to do with having those off days. So I've had those off days before where you will eat a pizza and you will eat ice cream and you eat everything, and it's so easy to think, oh, well, I ate all this today, what does it matter the next day if I eat bad stuff the next day? Don't do it. Just remember, it doesn't make a difference. Everyone has their bad days, everyone has their times of the month or whatever when their bodies require more things, so don't think of it as a bad thing. Just push past it, and it's the hardest thing to do, but if you do that and you just carry on doing what you're supposed to do and eating in the right way, then when you have those one treat days or you know, off days, you're not going to make like a big impact in terms of like what you've achieved and what you haven't achieved, and therefore you're not going to be trying to compensate by then going on some, you know, ridiculous crash diet, which, you know, leads to you gaining weight in the long term, because your body then starts storing fat in the wrong way, which is what happens with most dieting, and that's why I don't personally do diets. So that's number 6. So number 7, this is more to do with, I think, what was number 7 actually? Okay, hold on. Okay, number 7. I swear I should make notes. I really should make notes. Disorganised. But yeah, number 7 is more to do with things like, how can I make, like, shopping habits. That's the best way to put it. If you don't have it in your fridge, you can't eat it. But I'm the sort of person who, if I really want it, I will go out of the house without makeup, which I never do, and I will go to the shop and I buy it, and it's usually chocolate at that dreaded time. So what I would suggest is don't cut everything out. So for example, I love chocolate, but I understand that it's really, really bad for you. So what I do is I substitute my chocolate needs sometimes with hot chocolate, and I use skimmed milk. So I boil 100% skimmed. Like I have 100% of skimmed milk. If I have semi-skimmed milk, I add water to my semi-skimmed milk, and I boil that down, and I make hot chocolate from it, and that usually gives me my chocolate fix, because there's something in chocolate that gives you endorphins and things like that, and that's partly why we crave it. So that's not good. So that's number 7. Number 8. Let me think. I'm like I had all of them like in my brain and they've all gone. But yeah, number 8, I'm just gonna have to think about like what I actually do and what I apply to stuff. Oh, snacks, yay. Okay, so snacks. I love snacks. I don't get people who don't like snacking. It is so much better if you don't snack though, it's so much easier, but I do like to snack. If you're going to snack, just reach for the right ones. So things like nuts are really good because they are rich in protein, and they have got fat, so I can be bad with nuts sometimes. Like I can eat like a whole bag, but those are usually on the days that I've not eaten properly, and so my body is craving stuff more, but it's better to binge on a large bag of nuts than it is to binge on a large bag of crisps. So I don't think you should have a whole bag though. Just have like a handful of nuts, especially if it's late at night, then that's like a good snack over reaching for, you know, a bag of crisps or something like that. So that's one thing. In terms of other types of snacks, eat baked crisps over the other type of crisps. So I I'm a sucker for mini cheddars. They're like little baked cracker things, and they're so nice, but they only sell them in really big bags, which makes it really hard for me. Now I try to eat, I don't diet, but I try to make sure that I have actually eaten my my 2,000 calories a day, and I try not to eat over that amount. So I would say, you know, if you're going to have baked crisps, then try and get it in the appropriate bag size rather than a big family pack, because if you are in the mood for that kind of food, it's very easy to keep on dipping back into that bag, especially if you're watching a really great movie. So number 9 is more to do with what I do once a year, and this is probably a bit controversial because I said I don't condone dieting and I don't condone dieting, but even monks have like done cleanses and things like that, so it's not dieting. I don't do it to the extreme that some people do it. I don't because, you know, to me it's no point if you just live off like liquids for a week. As soon as you start eating fats and stuff, your body's going to start storing it. So what I do is I usually go raw for 1 week a year, and I haven't done it this year just because the weather's been really cold. Please don't do it in winter because it's just not good in winter. You're going to feel so ill probably. So try and do it in summer when it's warmer, when your body kind of requires a little bit more, when you're craving like the liquids a little bit more, you're craving those cold things a little bit more as well. So that would be the other one, is to try and do that. And the way that kind of works is you just kind of eat things like salads or nuts, or you can have like dried fruits and things like that, and you just do that for 1 week. And it sounds like really weird, but you do feel a lot better, like your body feels better. You usually will have lost some weight, and because you still would have been eating constantly, like this is the thing, no, not eating but eating constantly, you shouldn't then have that problem of gaining loads and loads of weight afterwards and piling on the pounds. So that is what I would kind of recommend. In terms of tip number 10, it's just kind of make it like a lifestyle choice. Don't make it like a dieting thing. You know, this is how children should be eating realistically, and if you you know, take this on board now, then when you get older you'll apply it to like your family and stuff like that. If you're someone who's young, if you're below the age of, I'd say 21 though, please be careful. Do not diet unless you are overweight, and I mean excessively overweight, not just a little bit of puppy fat, but I mean it's because your body's changing, and it means that you don't necessarily need, oh god, there's like a wasp thing in here. Okay, there it's gone. So yeah, because your body is changing, and it was like, oh hi, sorry to interrupt, and then it flew out the window again. But anyway, so so yeah, what I would say is don't really diet because your body's changing. If you are very young, like, you know, teenager, I really just don't think you need to be dieting unless you have been eating excessively wrong amounts of food. And if you have, you know, gained that much weight and you have been eating excessively, it's probably not your fault, because you're probably not the one buying the food. And that's a controversial thing to say, but it's true, because you know, when I was younger, for example, I didn't really want to eat meat, but I had to eat meat because my parents were insistent on it and they were the ones buying food. So as soon as I got old enough to like buy my own food, I bought my own food. And you know, at about 17 I was in a position whereby, you know, I could afford to, and I bought my own food, and I decided to be vegetarian, and that was, you know, a big change, but at the same time it was one that I had wanted to do since I was about 10 years old and hadn't actually gotten around to doing it, just because of the constraints that are put in your life. So I mean, number 10 is kind of a long one really, but it's it's hard to say, because I have been overweight at one stage in my life, not when I was younger though. I was like super skinny when I was younger, but I would say just don't don't forget your body is developing, don't forget it's changing. You don't want to do things like stunt your growth, you don't want to inhibit your ability to have children if you're a girl. There's so many risks attached to it, and I don't want to scare anyone out there. This is just really to try and help people to you probably will lose a little bit of weight doing this. I've lost like half a stone, but by reapplying this technique that I had applied for years when I was younger, I had done this, but it's not I just don't want to promote dieting just because whilst I do think if you are obese, diet away, like really, just because obviously I know that you've got much more immediate health problems, if that makes sense, but just be very careful in how you are dieting and just don't go to extremes. I think starting eating healthy like this is a really good starting point for anyone who then wants to go on to a diet, because it will give you a discipline first and a disciplined way of eating, and then if you are obese, then maybe work your way towards something like dieting, and then you can go back to this, and this will feel like a treat because you will have been having to kind of count calories a little bit more and create a deficit. So if you have any questions, please ask them just link it below or say something down below, and I'll try and answer them as best as possible. If you do want to see tutorials and stuff, then please subscribe, and if you have any questions about like suggested places, or if you are just someone who, for example, you've got like a really tight budget food wise, like in terms of what you can spend, and so you're not really thinking about whether or not this is something that you can do, but it's something you want to do, then please write to me, and if I can help you, I will, because I've had to live on a tough budget before, so I do know that it can be difficult, but it is doable. It's definitely doable, and it will make you a much better cook. It sounds like a really weird thing, but sometimes that's how you become inventive. But anyway, I'm going on and on because it's like 22 minutes now. So thank you for being here for my first video. Sorry I haven't cut anything out, and if you think that this camera's okay for using for like a general makeup tutorial or something like that, and the lighting and everything, then please let me know, and I will use this to do it, because the only reason why I haven't done that yet is because I've got some problems with my camera. Okay, anyway, take care, bye.